with Overwatch 2 Season 7 recently launching, and it's been out for about 2 weeks now. The obvious thing with the game is, and that's still a major problem, is the balance. In this video, we're going to be talking about the balance and just what kind of stuff and the major issues that are going on with the game after the game being out over a year now, which is really unfortunate. And a lot of the stuff that needs to be majorly fixed, and the stuff that the game really needs going into Season 8. Because I think Season 8 for the game is probably going to be like the most crucial season ever for Overwatch 2. A lot of people are fed up with the game right now. A lot of players that play certain roles like tank and a few other things in the game are just having a really bad time. And a lot of people are just choosing not to even play the game with how bad the balance of the game overall is right now. So there's a lot of other stuff with the game, at least with Season 7, that I'd like to talk about as well, like the shop and like the LTMs and a bunch of other stuff. But in this video, we're just mainly be talking about the balance. So by all means, if I forget to talk about anything, or if you guys want to let me know what you guys think, let me know in the comments down below before I do hop into this. But I don't know about you guys, but Overwatch, at least I've been playing the game since like 2018, like mid 2018, and I don't think the game's been poorly balanced, like to the point where it is now. At least for Overwatch 1, I don't think Overwatch 1 was never as poorly balanced as it is now, at least for as long as I've been playing the game. And it's just really sad because it's been getting to this point, at least throughout the entirety of Overwatch 2 already, and they just never really do anything to actually fix it. A lot of people seen a lot of this stuff already on the way, and just with the last like 2 or 3 seasons, and nothing was really done to address anything. It just keeps getting worse and worse every season. And now we're at the point where the game is pretty much unplayable for certain people, like tank players and a few other things. Tank is miserable right now. I'm a tank player. The main role I play is tank, and the main tanks I play are either Ryan, D.Va, Hog, and then I'll play Junker Queen and then Ramadra once in a while. Apart from that, like, I think tank right now is probably the most unplayable it's ever been. It's just not fun. You just don't do anything. Tank is one of those roles in the game right now that's pretty much irrelevant. You can play tank, you can play your ass off, and you can do whatever you want in a match, and just make all the crazy plays you want and just carry the team. And in the end, it is not even decided by how well you do, or even how bad you do. The games are decided off of the support players and kind of the DPS players, but mainly the support players. Whichever team has the better support combo and the better support is the one that usually wins. And that's kind of the main thing. That's what it comes down to right now. Tanks have no impact in the game at all. You can do however you want on a tank. And the majority of the time, unless you're doing incredibly bad, like you're getting your ass kicked in a match, like even if you do kind of bad, it doesn't really matter that much because you're still probably going to lose anyways if you were to even do better, because your role just does not matter at all right now. I don't know. There's stuff in the game like Roadhog. Let's talk a little bit about Roadhog. He is slated to get a rework, and he's just, I think the rework actually got pushed back. It was supposed to be for mid-season 7, and now they're saying it's not going to happen until probably like Season 8. So that's really, really unfortunate. But the guy has never been the same ever since they reworked his one-shot, and they got rid of his one-shot potential. They gave him some small mini buffs, but those have really done nothing to him. The guy has no damage. Every single type of damage he tries to do, it just gets healed. And you just don't do anything. Unless you're able to hook like a few certain characters in the game that actually die to his hook, you can hook anything you want, and you're never really able to follow up unless your team does. And he just doesn't really do anything. The only thing he really has right now is survivability, because he is able to heal himself, and he does have a pretty decent, like, beefy health bar. But apart from that, he just doesn't do anything. It's a real shame to say it too, because Roadhog is actually my most played hero in the entire game. And then we got stuff like Ryan. If you guys have been playing Ryan, especially in Overwatch 1, a lot of you guys probably didn't even play Overwatch 1, but he was actually really solid in Overwatch 1. He was like always the staple tank to like balance the game around, especially for that game. And the guy just got completely power crept. Ryan is probably one of the worst tanks in the game right now, just mainly because the power creep is just so real. You can't kill anything because your damage numbers aren't high enough. Everybody else keeps getting their damage numbers buffed, and his damage numbers stay the same. And in order to actually do anything, you got to actually be able to get into melee range to do your damage, and everything just has mobility or is just able to run away from you. Or stun you out with CC and have some type of CC to get you away or like do something towards you. and that's just the main reason why he's probably one of the worst tanks in the game right now. And I think the only few tanks in the game right now, if you actually want to play a tank and have fun, the ones that you are forced to play are either Orisa, Zarya, or then maybe Sigma and maybe Ramattra. And even then, those two tanks are kind of situational. It just depends what the enemy team has and what supports they're running and what DPS they're running. But like the only two tanks that I say that are actually viable right now, you can actually have fun playing and actually do something in a match on, are Zarya and Orisa, which is really, really sad. I don't know, let's talk a little bit about the supports. Let's talk about some supports. If you guys don't know, supports have been getting mega, like, giga buffed. It started with the roll passive of giving the supports the passive healing over time. They've been trying to change the passive for I don't know how long already, and they've changed the time it takes and like the amount of healing they get back over time already multiple times, and it just never seems to do anything. It's always pretty much the same. It's still always really, really busted. I think every single support in the game right now needs major balance changes. I think the only ones that are at least somewhat balanced right now are Lucio and Zenyatta. And even Zenyatta, I don't think he's really balanced, but like everything else just so good. To the point where I think once everything else gets nerfed, then you might actually need to nerf Zenyatta, because like the start of Overwatch 2, he was incredibly good, but then everything else kept getting buffed, and he never really got any changes. So now he's kind of just in the middle of the pack, kind of just average at best. So I don't know. Allari, like the newest support hero, Allari, she has an auto heal turret that legit heals everybody on your team automatically. You don't even need to do your job. The newest support in the game, you do not even need to be a fucking support. You can throw a turret and let the I don't think it matters if I miss that hook anyways. I'll just get all his health back because they have the fucking thing sitting there healing her up the fool. Wow, I got one-shotted. Balanced game, balanced supports, real balanced game we have here. When the supports are able to out-damage the goddamn fucking tanks. Great game this is. And then she throws up her fucking free healing, free brain dead totem, and they all get back to full health instantly again. All that for nothing. I pop an ult and I almost get 3 kills and it's gone in like 2 seconds. All the work I've been trying to do in like all that span of like 30 seconds, gone with the turret heal your entire team for you for about 80% of the game, and then you can just go run around, flank the enemy team's backline, or just play off angles and get damage. And then you charge your ult up and usually get at least like 2 or 3 kills, or even sometimes team wipes with your ult because it's just so busted. Allari's ult is probably the most broken ult in the entire game, at least for the supports. And the only one that even comes close is maybe Lifeweaver, which we'll talk about next. I don't know what they would need to do to balance Allari, but I think she just needs some major nerfs, especially to her healing pylon. It is probably the most brain-dead fucking ability a supporter's ever gotten in the entirety of Overwatch franchise. It takes no skill, and all you do is just throw it out, and hopefully you throw it into a place where the enemy team does not see it, and it does not get destroyed, so it's able to just keep healing everybody. And then that's not even to mention she also has an alternate fire, which can actually heal people as well, which people don't even realize is actually a thing because they never use it, but it actually has a solid amount of healing as well if you actually want to use that as a way to heal your team as well. Then we have Lifeweaver. Lifeweaver was put into the game, everybody thought he was really, really weak. I was one of the only people that actually thought he was balanced on released. Like season after season, like mid-season patch after mid-season patch, they would keep buffing his healing numbers, buffing his damage numbers, buffing his utility, and buffing like his quality of life. And ever since then, over the span of about 2 or 3 seasons now, the guy has been buffed so much over that span of time to where he's probably the first, or even probably the second best support in the game, right beside Allari and maybe like Baptiste in the game right now. The guy does not die. He has a flower that you're able to get out of any situation that you're in. If somebody's diving on you, you just go on flower, and you hop into the air and they can't get you. At least most things cannot get to you. You have a dash that heals you and gives you a bunch of health back and gives you really solid mobility. Your ult is probably one of the best supports ult in the entire game, apart from like a Lari. If you're losing team fights with a Life Weaver ult on the field, you are just bad at the game. It is pretty much an ult that you guarantee win a fight with, because it just does so much. It gives you so much heals. It's a deployable that has a crazy amount of health. It blocks line of sight. It can trap people in, and it can do a bunch of other stuff. And the duration on it is way too long for an ult, especially with how much it does. Just everything you want out of a support. And then, not to mention, his healing numbers are absolutely fucking crazy. And he also does really solid damage. He has no drawbacks. Lifeweaver is a support that has 0 drawbacks. There is not a single thing about him that is like a weak side to him at all. And that is a problem with a lot of the supports in the game right now. They just have really no drawbacks. Baptiste, the guy is unkillable. Crazy heals, and he's also able to do crazy amounts of damage, and he never dies. Isn't that what the problem is? Isn't that a problem with a lot of the supports? You can say the same thing with a lot of supports. Kiriko, the main problem with her is she just has a teleport that's you're able to use pretty much whenever, and she also has a cleanse that gets you out of a lot of really bad situations. The main thing about Kiriko, though, that makes her incredibly good is her teleport. Her mobility is crazy. She also has really solid damage, but it's more of a skill shot if you land headshots. I don't think that's really the problem with it. I think the problem is mainly her mobility. Being able to teleport through walls and that type of thing, and it's on way too short of a cooldown for how good it actually is. You got Mercy, which is pretty much just plays the hero for you. All you need to know how to do is just float between players and then hold down 1 or 2 buttons. Either you're holding down yellow beam or you're giving somebody a damage boost, and then every 2 seconds you're floating into the air, following whoever you're pocketing, or you're rotating between your other teammates. She's pretty much a self-explanatory like support that plays the game for you. Absolutely fucking braided. I think she needs an entire rework. I don't give a fuck if you're a Mercy player and you think she's perfect the way she is, or you're somebody that loves Mercy. Mercy is bad for the game. She needs an entire rework, and until she gets entire rework, I don't think she'll ever be actually in a healthy state in the game ever again. And I don't think she ever was to begin with. Even in like Overwatch 1, she was always really, really busted. I think there were some really early times in Overwatch 1 where her healing numbers were kind of low, but even then she had Blue Beam, so she was still being picked for the damage boost. So I don't think there was like any time in the entire history that she's been in the game in Overwatch 1 or 2 where she's per se actually like been bad. Can't say that about like a lot of other stuff in the game. You can't. And you have Ana. Ana's self-explanatory. You got the Sleep Dart, you got the Nade, crazy damage numbers and crazy healing numbers, and then you have the Nano Boost. She's just crazy. I think the only thing she doesn't have is mobility, like a lot of the other supports. But what she doesn't have in mobility, she makes up with damage, healing numbers, and utility. So, I don't know. It's just crazy. Like, a lot of this stuff in the game is just so fucking busted, especially the supports, to where they just need so many major nerfs to where I don't even know where they're going to begin to start. I have no idea. That's not the only problem, though. You also have damage characters. There's also a handful of damage characters that are just making the game pretty much unplayable for the tanks right now. And the ones that are pretty much being picked for obvious reasons, that either are able to bust through a lot of the healing that's actually being used right now just because the healing numbers are crazy, or they have some other reason that it's making them viable, just mainly because they can either deal with a lot of the tanks and make the tanks miserable, or they're able to be paired with a lot of supports really, really easily. The main one that comes to mind is Bastion. I don't know how many times Bastion, at least how many times I've went on like a tier list video, which if you guys missed those, go check them out. They're live on the channel right now, but I do tier list videos for every season. I think it's been like at least 3 seasons now where Bastion's been like SS plus tier, and the guy just never gets any changes. They gave him a small nerf to when he transforms into his turret form. They gave him a little bit less armor on the form swap, I think, and that's about all they really did with him. Bastion is pretty much a DPS hero, to where whatever you see moving, you transform into a turret form, and you just shoot at whatever is moving and you melt them. That's all he really does. He is probably the most brain-dead damage hero the game has ever seen, and the guy needs to be absolutely fucking nerfed into the ground. He really does. He makes tank unplayable, and being somebody that plays tank 99% of the time, going against a Bastion pretty much makes you irrelevant. And he pretty much makes it so you can't do anything. Every time the guy is in turret form, you're forced to hide behind a wall or doing nothing until he's able to switch back into sentry form, and even then, he's either running away or just trying to buy time for his cooldown to run out so he can come back and melt you again. We have Sombra. Sombra actually got reworked for Season 7. Like, what did they actually change with Sombra? I think the only thing that's actually different with Sombra is that her ult really isn't as good. But every single thing else about Sombra is pretty much the exact same. And not only is she able to just hack the tanks nonstop, she's also able to actually deal with the DPS and supports a lot better because she has more burst damage with Virus, which is a thing a lot of people aren't even actually saying. Her mobility is great. Being able to be invisible whenever you want is really, really good. And then Virus also does a shit ton of damage, and the hack is also still really good. The only thing that's really changed with the Sombra rework that's actually changed her is the hack is just not as effective and you don't get the bonus damage. But they just took the bonus damage away from her passive and they put it into Virus, so it's just more of a burst damage type ability. If I'm wrong, somebody tell me in the comments down. Fucking loot this shit. The Sombra won't leave me alone. He just keeps hacking me. Fuck off. Fuck off. She just keeps hacking me. That's what Sombra is now again, y'all. She hasn't changed. She just hacked the tank. Just fucking stand there and hack the tank over and over and over until you die. That is all she is again. The rework solved nothing. What a fucking failure. I cannot even, wait to see what they do with Roadhog, because I can't wait to see how they ruin him. With how bad Sombra's rework is, holy fuck, they're gonna completely ruin Hog. Look at our Sombra, too. It's just a fucking battle of Sombras. It is legit who Sombra can hack the enemy tank more. That's what this is. Our Sombra is just standing here hacking their tank, and they're just trying to hack me the entire game. That's all this is. Fucker, I'm sick of getting hacked. I am so sick of just getting non-stop hacked all the time.
At your convenience.
I can't put my shield up. I can't put my shield up. That's good. I got hacked. That's cool. Fun game, Blizzard. And then I got bursted down in 2 seconds with Virus. That's fun. Here it is. Here's gang up on the Hog. Gang up on the Hog. Hack the shit out of him non-stop and then gang up on him. That's what this is. The Sombra does nothing but non-stop hack me the entire time. Just like last patch, just like last season, just like before when they tried to rework Sombra and failed miserably. Nothing has changed. What a waste of a rework. Actually, I think it's actually worse because now you get bursted down even faster if they hit you with Virus. Goodbye, everybody. I'm done. Below. I really would love to see what you guys think about Sombra's rework. But at least I think Sombra's rework was an absolute fucking failure. It didn't do anything to change her at all, and if anything, it actually made her better and allowed her to do more stuff, plus the stuff that she was doing previously with just hacking the tank nonstop. And just giving her more damage, more burst damage instead of utility with a longer hack and the hack damage. Now, if you were to ask me for the rework for Sombra, I'd give them an F. I think they failed miserably. I really do. Next, you got Hanzo. Hanzo's crazy. I don't know about you guys, but if you're playing a tank that does not have any type of like shield or like anything to block damage, Hanzo just stands there and just goes after the tank the entire game. He can duel like a lot of the supports and stuff, but the one thing that still makes Hanzo bust is you're able to one-shot people at like medium to long range as well still, which is something they thought they were supposed to get rid of, and it's still in the game. It feels absolutely fucking garbage being one-shotted by Hanzo with a headshot from all the way across the map. How that is still in the game is beyond me. And that's one of the only reasons he's actually good right now. So I think once they actually get rid of the headshot, he'll actually be balanced. But it's really sad to where they can't balance him correctly, and it's just such a simple change that they don't even bother implementing into the game. You got Soldier 76. The main reason why this one I'm talking about Soldier is mainly because I'm a console player. If you're on PC or you play in like your higher tiers, maybe it's not that much of a problem. But at least being on console and being like your average type of player, the guy's crazy. He has his own self-healing, he has an auto-aim ult, he has his own mobility, and he has crazy amounts of easy-to-do, reliable damage. He has everything you want out of a DPS. I don't understand why they don't nerf him either. I really don't. Reaper is another one that I've been talking about as well. I think the main reason why Reaper is really, really good is just because he's able to actually fight tanks. He is one of the only things that is actually able to do a lot of damage to the tanks and also break through a lot of the healing numbers. He's just mainly there to make the tank's life miserable. If you're playing Reaper, you just go after the tank like 90% of the game. He can fight a lot of the other DPS depending on what they are, but the main thing he does is just go after the tanks 90% of the game. Charge your ult off the tanks, and then save your ult, and then try to use your ult and land a really good ult into the back line of the enemy team and maybe kill the supports that way. That's pretty much how you play Reaper right now. It's all you really do is brain dead. How Reaper is somehow able to 1v1 some of the tanks in this game still is beyond me. I have no idea how that's balanced. And then you have Mei, which also got her damage reverted for Season 7. I think Mei is just a balancing disaster as well. They've tried to rework her and change her multiple times already throughout the cycle of this game. And nothing has really changed, and nothing has made her worse or changed her in any way. She's always been really, really incredibly busted. I think she needs some major damage nerfs. I really do. All you really need to do with Mei is you just run up to people, mainly the tanks. You wall them off, and you stand there and you hold down one button to freeze them nonstop until the wall goes away, and by that point they're pretty much dead. And then also you're charging your ult so fast where if you do that maybe like 2 or 3 times, you already have an ult. So that's pretty much how you play her. And then every time you get low on health, you transform into an ice block and go back to full health. Really self-explanatory, really easy to play hero. Takes pretty much 0 to no skill. I don't know. I think one of the main problems with this as well too is them changing the game to 5v5. Like, as much as people, like, there's some people that really hated the game when it was 6v6 back in Overwatch 1, but you cannot lie that back in Overwatch 1 when it was 6v6, we never had these balancing type issues. I think if they actually revert the game for Season 8, if they actually finally revert the game back to 6v6 and remove all of the role passive for support, DPS, and tanks, I think the game would mostly be balanced by itself. I really do. I think that would be actually like the best balance change to actually do to actually fix everything automatically. Don't get me wrong, there would still be some major issues with a few certain heroes, but like apart from that, I think if you want the more easier way to balance the game with how currently it is, you bring the game back to 6v6 starting in Season 8. Obviously, this probably will never happen. There's more of a chance of like Overwatch like doing something crazy and like lowering the prices in the item shop, which I don't think they'll ever do either, but and then like reverting the game back to 6v6. I really don't think that, especially in like one season, but if they actually really cared about the game, which I don't think they actually do, they just want to milk as much money from the players as possible. Just go look at the shop for Season 7. Go look at the shop. Like, if they actually cared about the game and like the playability of the game, that's what they would actually do, but I don't think that's going to happen. But otherwise, there needs to be some major changes. I think the major stuff that needs to happen first is some major changes to like the majority of the support heroes in the game. A lot of really huge nerfs to healing numbers and like utility and like mobility nerfs, and then a lot of nerfs to about a handful of DPS characters, mainly damage nerfs. I think there's a certain amount of heroes in the game that do a lot of damage. Like all the ones I mentioned and maybe 1 or 2 other ones that you can use maybe some small nerfs. I don't know. Overall, let me know how you guys would balance the game. I know, at least for me, I want the game reverted back to 6v6. We never had these balance problems when the game was 6v6, not 5v5. I really want the game to go back to 6v6, and hopefully they do that for Season 8. I really doubt it, but you could always dream, I guess. I don't know, let me know how you guys would balance the game in the comments down below. What do you guys think of the game? Do you guys think tank is absolutely unplayable like I am? Like, pretty much me as well. Like, I'm a tank player, and it's pretty much unplayable, at least for me, but it depends where you're playing as well. If you're playing on console, if you're on PC, and depending on what your like skill level is. I know I'm just kind of an average player, so maybe it's different in like your higher tiers or like your really super low tiers of play. I'm not 100% sure, but let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like, subscribe, share the video. If you guys like these types of videos, I'll be sure to bring you guys more of these in the future. They do take a decent amount of time to put together, so depending on how the support for this video is, if the support's good, I will do more, but if not, this might be like the only one, or they'll be kind of infrequent going forward. So apart from that, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a future video. I also do stream on the channel. I stream Overwatch 2 and a bunch of other stuff. So if you guys do not want to miss that, subscribe. For some reason, like, over 70% of you guys that watch my videos are not subscribed. So, like, it's completely free, and you're just doing yourself a disservice by not subscribing. And you're losing out on a bunch of really good content. It also really helps the channel if you do subscribe. So if you are new and you are not subscribed for some reason, please sub. Would really appreciate it. Apart from that, I'm going to get out of here. See you guys in a future video.